Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all, and let's just get right into this review. So at the very beginning of this episode, Brooke Valentine and Marcus are in the studio recording a song together because they're trying to get this project finished before the baby comes, because as you know, if you watch the very first episode of this season, Brooke announced that she is pregnant again, and so Marcus has been really putting the pressure on her to get this project done, because once the baby comes, they're not really going to be able to focus on it anymore. And look, she's saying that he's putting a little bit too much pressure on her to finish it, and if he really is doing that, he needs to take it down a few notches, because the last thing she needs while she's pregnant is stress. But she ends up telling Marcus that she wants him to try to be like a counselor for Shay and Fabo, because they're going through a lot in their relationship. If you paid attention to last week's episode, you would know that Shay ended up going through his iPad and finding out that he's been having conversations with multiple different women. And when she confronted him on it, she was pretty much dead set on being done with the relationship. But when he came back in the room and apologized to her, she kind of went back on what she said, and she was kind of letting him know that if they go to like a counselor or they go to some type of therapist, that they could probably work on their relationship and stay together, which I was not surprised about, because every time Shay says that she's gonna leave Fabo, she doesn't end up doing it. However, I don't think that Marcus is the right person to counsel Shay and Fabo on their relationship. Like, is he even qualified to be counseling relationships? Like, I just don't like when people who don't have the right qualifications are the ones going to these couples and trying to give them advice, especially when you've done wrong in your relationship in the past as well. So I just don't feel like Marcus is really qualified for it. Now, while Brooke and Marcus are having this conversation, Amara ends up showing up to have a one-on-one conversation with Brooke. So Marcus ends up leaving the room, and she starts telling Brooke about how she got a visit from Marlin out of nowhere. He showed up to her job with cake and flowers for her and was asking her why she told Flo that he was flirting with her, and she doubled down on it and told him that he was flirting with her, which he absolutely was. Honestly, he was flirting with her at that moment too, because he showed up with cake and flowers for another woman that his wife just got into a fight with, so that was weird to me. But then she ends up telling Brooke that she actually ended up calling Marlin for help because her car would not start, and she admitted that she only called him on purpose to be petty towards Flo because she wanted to get revenge on her for Flo throwing a drink in her face. And now she's telling Brooke that Marlin offered to give her swimming lessons because she doesn't know how to swim, and she said that she was going to go through with it. Now, honestly, I can understand why Amara was upset with Flo, because Flo was definitely doing some petty things to Amara last season. I mean, she was all over Safari, even though she knew that Safari and Amara were together, and then she threw a drink in her face recently. So I can understand her being upset. However, going after Marlin just to get back at her, to me, is a stupid thing to do. Like, Marlin's not even a good guy to his wife, and we see how he is. So for her to even entertain him, even if it's just to get back at Flo, to me doesn't make sense. Now, Trick is in the kitchen cooking breakfast for the Hollywood twins and his son Jay, and he can't even tell that there's an awkward tension at the table, because obviously one of the Hollywood twins, I think her name is Deja, actually slept with Trick's son Jay, and that's why she could not focus when they were in the studio in last week's episode. And so there's a lot of awkward tension at the table between the twins, because one of the twins doesn't like that her sister is getting caught up with Trick's son, not only because it's interfering with their music, but also because she thinks that when Trick finds out about it, he's going to be upset and probably end up kicking them out and refusing to work with them. Now, I don't know if he'll take things that far because his son is an adult, but who knows? But while they're all sitting at the table eating, Hawt Topic actually ends up showing up to talk to Trick about the invitation that both her and him received in the mail for Trina and Swurv's wedding celebration. And look, she was already salty about this because she claims that she didn't actually get an invite from Trina herself. She got the invite from Joy, and so she starts telling Trick everything that she found out about Swurv. She said that he stalked Trina at the hot dog stand, and that there was emails coming in about how he's been plotting on Trina this entire time, and how he has a baby with another woman. And she ends up telling him that she actually met with this woman Gladys, who says that she's the mother of Trina's husband's child, and that she's trying to reach out to him so that she can get a DNA test. And I mean, Hawt Topic is telling the truth. She did meet with this woman Gladys, who says that she's the mother of Swurv's child, and that she's been trying to get a hold of him so that she can get a DNA test, because obviously obviously she probably wants some type of child support from him. But Trick is not really feeling this information that Hawt Topic is giving him because he feels like she's prying too much into Trina's business, which is what I think too. I don't think that she's doing this out of the kindness of her heart and because she cares about Trina. I think she's doing it because she's messy and she's trying to get back at Trina for kind of pushing her out of her circle when she ended up getting with Swurv. Trick seems to think that it's kind of odd that this woman Gladys, now that Trina is married to Swurv, all of a sudden is saying that she's looking for Swurv to try to get a DNA test. Now, that could be true. She could just be trying to dip into Trina's money. However, if there's a chance that he could be the father of this woman's child, he should want to take a DNA test just to see if he actually is, because if he is the father, then he should be in the child's life and he should be at least taking care of this child. And if he knows that he's not the father, he should still take a DNA test to prove to this woman that he's not the father of her child, and then this woman can leave him and Trina alone. But it seems like he doesn't want to take the DNA test because according to this woman Gladys, she said that he's been dodging taking the DNA test, and then Trina made it seem like she doesn't even want him to take it based on the way that she reacted at the end of this episode. So I feel like this situation is not going to be cleared up anytime soon. And then Hawt Topic tried to tell Trick that everything is basically Bobby's fault because he's the one that came to her with these emails from this woman in the first place, and that he was actually the one that was supposed to bring all of this to Trina's attention, and now he went MIA. However, that's not necessarily true because even though he did tell Hawt Topic about these emails, he did tell Trina about it at the end of last week's episode, and she did not want to hear about it. She told him that she doesn't care and that she doesn't want to hear anything about his past because that has nothing to do with her. So he respected the fact that she does not care about his past. So I don't understand why the only person who doesn't get it is Hawt Topic. Like, if the woman said that she does not care, let it go and let her figure it out on her own. I think that Trina's acting like a fool. I think she should care about his past because his past is important, especially because there might be something in his past that could be affecting her at some point. So I feel like she should care, but if she says that she doesn't, she needs to let it go. So because Zoe ended up getting engaged at the end of last week's episode, Zoe's sister and her friends, including Estelita, decided to surprise her with a trip to a wedding dress shop so that she can try on dresses and they can celebrate her engagement with her, which Zoe seemed to be really excited about. She was having a really good time and enjoying herself, but she did open up to everybody there about how her and Calvin were having a lot of issues in their relationship and they were on the verge of breaking up. So him proposing to her kind of came out of nowhere because she wasn't expecting it. However, she did say that she loves him and she wants to make the relationship work. But she did admit that she's a little bit apprehensive about marrying him because of the fact that they work together. Like, he's like her manager. So that's what's causing all the stress in their relationship. Now, Estelita and some of her other friends said that they think it's a good idea for her to fight for this relationship and keep trying because obviously if he proposed, that means that he does want to be with her and he wants to keep trying. However, Zoe's friend Kiki had something else to say because she had a different opinion than everybody else. She straight up told Zoe in front of all of her friends that she doesn't think that Zoe should marry Calvin and that she doesn't think that Calvin is the one. And then she ended up bringing something that Zoe told her in confidence up in front of everybody. She said that Zoe was messing with a woman and Zoe was upset because it's like, girl, if she told you this in private, why did you say this in front of everybody, especially on national television? I mean, it's one thing if she doesn't think that Zoe should marry Calvin, but then again, I don't feel like being at a wedding dress shop is the place to say this to your friend. I think she could have told her this before this whole situation happened, or she could have told this to Zoe in private that this is how she felt. But her telling everybody at this event that Zoe is messing around with a woman behind Calvin's back is really messed up. I don't feel like Zoe and Kiki really know each other anyway. I feel like Zoe shouldn't have told Kiki any of her business because she kind of just met this woman. Like, she admitted in this episode that they just recently became friends. So this woman is definitely not somebody that's trustworthy. She's a really pretty woman. She's just not a trustworthy friend. So Amara does end up meeting up with Marlin in this episode so that he can teach her how to swim. And as soon as she walked over to him, he was immediately being inappropriate and flirting with her. He started asking her why she was wearing a wetsuit instead of a bathing suit. And that's like weird because it's like, you're just supposed to be teaching her how to swim. You're not supposed to be there flirting with her. However, I feel like Amara kind of opened the door for that because she's entertaining him because she wants to get back at Flo. And while he's teaching her how to swim, he keeps making like inappropriate comments with sexual innuendos. And it's just really weird why they were hanging out with each other in the first place. Now, Amara did say in her confessional that she's not physically attracted to Marlin, but she is attracted to some of the qualities that he does have that she might want in a mate. And Marlin claims that when he was teaching Amara how to swim, it made him think about the good times that he had with Flo and how he really wants her back. Now, look, this man keeps saying that he wants Flo back, but I really don't think think he wants her back like that, because if he really wanted Flo, when he was with her, he would have did right by her. He wouldn't have been cheating on her. He wouldn't have been lying to her. He wouldn't have had a kid outside of their marriage. So look, I just feel like Marlin is playing games with Flo. I feel like he tries to stick to her like glue because he doesn't want her to be able to move on, and that's exactly how I feel. I don't know if I'm right. That's just what I'm getting from what he's saying and his actions on the show. Now, it's the day of Trina and Swurv's wedding celebration, and Hawt Topic actually does end up showing up, and she says in her confession that the only reason why she decided to come was because she's upset at the fact that she was pushed out of Trina's circle once she got with Swurv, and that today was the day that she was going to tell Trina everything she found out about Swurv's past, which is really crazy to me because this is not the time or the place to be telling Trina bad things about her husband. Like, not at a wedding celebration. Like, that's crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, Trina already said that she doesn't care, so I don't understand why she's continuing to try to tell Trina this information. I think she wants Trina and Swurv to break up, but let's be honest, even if the things that was being said about Swurv was true, Trina already married this man and without a prenup, and it seems like she doesn't care what anybody has to say. She's gonna stick by him anyway. Trick ends up deciding to show up as well, despite the issues that him and Trina have been having with each other lately when it comes to business decisions. But he ended up showing up and telling her that he was upset at the fact that she did not tell him that she got married, but that he respects her privacy and he just wants her to be happy, which is what Hawt Topic should have said. But because she's so upset at the fact that Trina cut her out of her circle, that's the reason why she's on this vengeance tour. Now look, I think that Trina made a mistake marrying this man, but that's not up for me to decide. I think he's a bum from what I seen. Like, during this episode, he was on the microphone talking, and I think he was so high he couldn't even speak. His eyes were partially closed. He was talking really slow. Like, it was really weird to hear him talk on the mic because he's usually so quiet with his sunglasses on in the corner just standing behind Trina. And this time he tried to get on the microphone and speak, and it was just really weird. However, if Trina likes it, I love it because it's not my business, and I don't understand why Hawt Topic so hell-bent on telling her this information. And in this episode, Trina actually walks up to Hawt Topic and said that she has a bone to pick with her, but that this is not the time or the place for them to have a conversation. And she walks away telling Hawt Topic that she's not done with her yet. So obviously Hawt Topic knows that they're going to end up having this conversation at some point in this episode. Marlin is such a manipulator because he ends up showing up to Flo's job, and he actually ends up showing up with a picture of the two of them together from their past with 2 flowers in his hand. And she sees the picture and she tells him that it's a nice picture, but that it's the past and that they're not like that with each other anymore because he messed everything up. She said that she does not want to be with him anymore and that she's going to finalize the divorce because she just does not want to be with him. She can't trust him. She can't expect loyalty from him. He had a child outside of their marriage. He cheated on her with her sister and a bunch of other women, and she's been embarrassed by him. She said that she doesn't even know if she could ever really love somebody else either because of what he put her through, which is really sad to hear. I know that Flo is not innocent, but in this relationship with Marlin, I definitely feel like she's a victim in this situation because he plays a lot of games, and we see him doing this right now by showing up with this old ass picture between the two of them and then some flowers. Like, that's gonna make up for everything that he's done. Now, while Estelita is doing a photo shoot for her eyelash line, she ends up inviting Zoe's friend Kiki from earlier in this episode to the photo shoot so that she can have a conversation with her about why she blurted out Zoe's business in front of everybody at the wedding dress shop. And so she starts questioning Kiki, and Kiki said that there's really nothing to say because Zoe cut her off, which is rightfully so. I mean, if you sat there and blurted out her private business that she told you in confidence, why would she want to be your friend? That means you're not trustworthy. So it was good that Zoe ended up cutting her off, but the two of them start talking about the situation, and Estelita starts telling Kiki that she overstepped her boundaries and that she was moving funny, which Kiki was definitely moving funny when it came to that situation with Zoe. And so obviously Kiki was going to get annoyed at Estelita because now she feels like Estelita is overstepping her boundaries because the situation had nothing to do with her. So she tells Estelita to get back to her photo shoot, and obviously Estelita did not like her saying that to her. So the two of them start yelling at each other. It's almost about to get physical, and security ends up pulling Kiki out of the building. Now look, I understand that Estelita was trying to look out for Zoe. However, I kind of feel like she's always involved in other people's business. Like, she doesn't have a storyline, so her storyline is getting involved in other people's business, because I just feel like this entire season so far, every time she gets into something with somebody, it's because she's involved involving herself in something that has nothing to do with her. So Shay ends up showing up to her little counseling session with Fabo and Marcus, and she's pissed off. You can tell that she's visibly upset, and she walks into the room and she starts telling Marcus why they have issues in their relationship. She said that she has been wanting things to work out with Fabo, but it seems like they're never on the same page, and that recently Zoe's sister Bianca felt like she was in a whole cyber relationship with him because he was talking to her behind Shay's back, and so she felt some type of way about that, and she feels like Fabo is the reason why the two of them can't move forward with their relationship. Now, Fabo was trying to make excuses, saying that he's never met any of these women before, so he doesn't understand why Shay is acting the way that she's acting, but Shay was right when she told him that he shouldn't have been talking to these women in the first place. These women would not be able to say that he's been talking to them and that they felt like they were in a relationship with him if he hadn't been talking to them in the first place. So I don't understand why he was even trying to use that as an excuse, that he hasn't even met them in person. It doesn't matter. And Fabo ends up saying that he feels like a lot of the issues in their relationship stem from his ex because Shay doesn't trust him when he goes to Milwaukee because she feels like he's going to be sleeping with his ex-girlfriend. Now, Fabo ended up saying in his confessional that he was actually cheating on his girlfriend in Milwaukee with Shay. Shay was actually his side chick, but then he said that Shay accidentally got pregnant, and then him and his ex broke up, and he started trying to work on things with Shay, which is crazy because that means that Shay was actually his side chick. Now, he did say to Marcus and in front of Shay that Shay did not know that he was in a relationship with this woman in Milwaukee. I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to take his word for it because he's saying that Shay did not know and that he was lying to them both. But I'm a little bit confused because once Shay did find out that he actually was cheating on his girlfriend with her, I don't understand why she ever expected loyalty to him, because if he wasn't even being loyal to the girlfriend he had, then why do you think he's going to be loyal to you? Like, he was literally cheating on his girlfriend with you. So I was confused why she even ever expected him to be loyal. Now, Shay said that she was done with Fabo completely now, like forever, because she said that he's been lying to her and playing games with her for a really long time. She said that he was telling her that he wanted her to have his first son, but then she found out recently that he actually has 2 teenage sons that she didn't know about. So he's been playing games with her this entire time. So she says that she's done with him. I don't believe that she is. I'll have to see it to believe it, because she says that all the time and then she ends up back with him again. But she did say that, you know, he doesn't take care of the daughter that they have together either. He's basically in the house, but he does absolutely nothing. So I'm confused as to why she stayed with him this long in the first place. It's crazy. And then he was saying that he actually tried to leave Shay multiple times and go back to Milwaukee, but she didn't want him to. She wanted him to stay with her, and that, you know, she wants more kids and she wanted to be a family, and that's why he continued to stay. So basically, he's saying that Shay was forcing him to stay with her. That's what I took from what he was saying, which is crazy if she actually was. I have no idea if they're gonna really break up, but after this big argument that they had and everything that was revealed, I don't feel like they should be together. Now, at the very end of this episode, it's the night of Big D's party, and everybody shows up to support, including Trina and Swurv, and also Hawt Topic. Now, Hawt Topic said that she was finally gonna get everything off her chest that she found out about Swurv to Trina, so she immediately goes up to where Trina and Swurv are sitting, and she starts confronting Trina about acting funny towards her ever since she's been with Swurv, and says that she's been really hurt at the fact that she's been pushed out of Trina's circle because Trina is with Swurv. And look, I can understand if she's hurt that Trina hasn't really been talking to her as much since she's been with Swurv. However, the way that she's handled things just shows that she's not a real friend, because as soon as you make her mad, she's gonna go be messy and put all your business out there and pry into your business like the way that she's been doing. If she was hurt, she could have reached out to Trina, had a lunch or something, and told her how she was feeling instead of going about it in this very messy way. And she tries to put everything on Bobby, but then Trina says that Bobby tried to tell her some information the last time that they saw each other, and that Bobby also told her that Hawt Topic has been prying in her business and that he thinks that she's the one that leaked the fact that she got married. Now, when she was asked in her confessional if she was the one that leaked Trina's information about being married, she just laughed and she didn't say yes or no. Now, that could be editing and she could have said no and they just cut it out, but from the looks of the episode, it looks like she was just laughing because she didn't want to say that she was the one that did it. Now, during this conversation, Hawt Topic does tell Trina and Swurv that she met with this woman named Gladys, who was in the comment section saying that Swurv was the father of her child and that he was dodging taking a DNA test, and that she actually wanted to talk to Trina because she feels like Trina would be the best way to get to Swurv. And so Trina shut that shit down immediately. She said that she doesn't care about a woman from his past, and that if this woman wants to speak to her, then she can speak to her lawyer. So she basically shut it down completely. She said that she doesn't care about anything that has to do with Swurv's past, which is crazy to me. She absolutely should care, especially because this is a man that she married. Like, she should have been caring about his past before she married him, especially without a prenup. And if you're married to a man and there's a woman going around saying that he's the father of her child, wouldn't you want him to find out if that baby is actually his? Because if it is his, then he should be in the child's life. And if it's not his, then this woman can leave you two alone. Like, that's weird to me that she reacted this way. However, since Trina reacted this way every single time somebody tried to tell her some information about Swurv, I feel like Hawt Topic should just let it go at this point.